Ever feel like you're kind of playing it too safe with your goals? Like you could be reaching for way more, but something's holding you back.
Yeah.
Well, get ready, because today we're diving deep into a book that'll light a fire into those ambitions.
Oh, okay.
It's Grant Cardone's The 10X Rule.
Ah, the 10X rule.
This one is basically a rocket booster for your goals.
Now, see, that's what I like, because what's interesting about Cardone is he's not just some motivational speaker up in an ivory tower, right?
Right.
This guy, he's built an empire. You know, Forbes top marketer, CEO, author of 21 best-selling business programs. I mean,
He's walking the walk.
yeah, he's the real deal. He's living proof his methods actually work.
So, all right, let's break it down, this whole 10X rule thing. What's the core idea?
Okay, so the 10X rule, it's about setting targets 10 times bigger than what you think you can achieve.
10 times.
10 times, yeah. And then you got to put in 10 times the effort to actually make it happen.
Whoa, okay, that sounds intense. Why does he think we need to go that big?
Well, he makes the point that most people, we drastically underestimate what it really takes to hit major success.
Yeah, we see that.
Right. We set those comfy goals, the ones that won't really shake things up too much or push us out of our comfort zones.
The safe bets.
Exactly. But Cardone's saying that's basically a recipe for mediocrity, maybe even failure.
So the 10X is like a buffer for those
Well,
underestimations.
you got it. It forces you to think bigger, plan for the unexpected.
Mhm.
You got to develop that resilience to power through obstacles.
I like that.
And think about it. Even if you don't hit that 10X target perfectly, you'll still achieve way more than you would have with, a smaller goal.
Makes sense. So I see how that applies in like a business sense. But does Cardone think this goes for everything in life?
Oh, absolutely. He's super clear about that. The 10X rule is a mindset. It's a way to approach any goal you got, whether it's your career, your finances, relationships, even personal growth.
So it's not just working harder, it's working smarter and aiming higher with everything.
You hit the nail on the head. He actually says that aiming for average is actually dangerous.
Oh, interesting. Why is that?
Well, because it sets you up for, stagnation, maybe even decline. In today's world, everything's moving so fast, you got to be constantly growing, pushing yourself to stay ahead of the curve.
So complacency is the enemy.
Yeah, he's saying complacency is the enemy of success. And that kind of ties into his whole idea of success being a duty.
Okay, what does he mean by that?
He really believes everyone has the potential for success, but it's not something that just falls in your lap.
You got to earn it.
You got to own it. Take extreme ownership of your life, set those ambitious goals, and then take massive action.
Okay, we're hearing a lot about this massive action. What's he actually mean by that?
Well, it's not enough to just, set these big, crazy goals around. You got to back them up with relentless effort, consistent effort.
Put in the work.
Yeah, exactly. He's a huge believer in outworking everybody else, going above and beyond what's considered normal. He actually calls it dominating, not competing.
So pushing yourself to the limit, but not to just keep up with other people, but to surpass them.
Exactly. You find what others won't do, you master those skills, and you develop a level of expertise that just sets you completely apart.
He's redefining hard work.
He is. And it's interesting, right? Because he connects this whole mindset to breaking free from the comparison trap.
Yeah, I can see that.
So many of us, we get caught up comparing ourselves to everyone else.
Right, keeping up with the Joneses.
Exactly. But Cardone's saying when you're laser focused on dominating your own goals, on pushing your own limits,
You stop worrying about everyone else.
you do. Your energy's going towards something big, something that really gets you fired up and inspires you.
That's a great point. So, okay, we've talked about the 10X mindset, massive action, breaking free from those comparisons. Now, I got to ask, how does he apply this to, well, everyone's favorite topic, money?
Well, this is where Cardone's real-world experience really shines through.
Okay,
He's all about financial planning,
makes sense.
but not just the basic budgeting stuff. He's talking about going 10X with your financial goals.
So instead of just saving a little each month, it's like, how do I 10X my income, my
Yeah.
net worth, my investments?
Exactly. And he's upfront about it. He knows that hitting those kinds of results takes a knowledge, strategy, and a willingness to step outside your comfort zone.
He's not going to sugarcoat it.
No, he's not. He even encourages people to get professional help with their finances.
Yeah.
He understands that if you're going for those 10X returns, you got to have the right team and tools in place.
And speaking of tools, he does mention specific strategies like mutual funds and SIPs.
Yeah, systematic investment plan.
SIPs. Okay. I'm no financial expert. Can you break those down? But connect them back to this 10X way of thinking.
Sure. Think of mutual funds like a team effort for investing. You're pooling your money with other people to buy a bunch of different assets, like stocks, bonds, things like that.
Yeah, gotcha.
So it's like that saying, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Duh.
Diversify, diversify.
Exactly. And then SIPs, they take that diversification even further. With a systematic investment plan, you're automatically investing a certain amount of money into those funds at regular intervals. Could be monthly, could be quarterly.
So it's consistent investing no matter what the market's doing at that moment. It sounds like he's really big on taking emotion out of investing.
He is. It's all about that long-term vision and trusting the process. One of the key things he talks about is the power of compounding. Over time, your returns, they make more returns, and those returns make even more returns. It creates this like snowball effect that can lead to some serious wealth.
So instead of trying to time the market, get rich quick, it's about playing the long game, making those consistent investments and letting compounding work its magic.
And with SIPs, you're not just riding those market ups and downs, you're actually benefiting from them. Think about it. When the market dips, your investments are buying more at a lower price. When the market goes up, those shares are worth more.
It's like you're turning that market volatility into an advantage. That's smart. You know what's really sticking with me about all this? It's the whole taking control thing. It's not about hoping for the best. It's about having a plan and then going after it with everything you've got.
And that applies to every part of the 10X rule.
Yeah.
Whether it's those big business goals, your finances, even just trying to build better relationships, it's about moving from passive to active.
Instead of waiting for opportunity to come knocking, you're out there creating it.
That's it, becoming the architect of your own success.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's powerful stuff, but I'm wondering, is this 10X thing realistic for everyone? Like, what about people who are just starting out? Maybe they don't have a ton of resources or experience yet.
That's a good point. And Cardone, he actually addresses that directly.
Oh, okay.
He says the 10X rule isn't about starting with a massive advantage. It's about building that advantage over time.
So it's not where you're at, is where you're going.
Yeah.
And how much work you're willing to put in.
Exactly. He believes anyone, no matter where they're coming from, can achieve amazing things if they use these principles.
It's about breaking down those mental barriers.
Yeah, set those audacious goals, take massive action, and refuse to just settle for okay.
No settling. It's about believing that you can achieve more than you ever thought possible.
Right, and that's the real power of the 10X rule. It's not a guarantee you'll hit every single target, but it opens your mind to what's possible. It unlocks potential you didn't even know you had.
So it's not just about the destination. It's about the journey. All that growth and change along the way.
That's a great way to put it. Even if you miss that exact 10X goal, the skills, the resilience, the knowledge you pick up along the way, that's what's really valuable.
It sounds like it's less about a formula and more about a mindset, like being bold, ambitious, and relentlessly going after your goals.
I think that's it exactly. Challenge yourself to think bigger, be bolder, and never settle for anything less than extraordinary.
Now that is what I call a deep dive. I'm really glad we dug into this one. Cardone's 10X rule, it's challenging, it's ambitious, and it makes you question all those limits we put on ourselves.
Yeah, me too. It's a great reminder that we all have the potential to do amazing things if we just set our sights high enough and put in the work.
But as much as I'm enjoying this, I can't help but wonder, are there any downsides to this 10X approach? Like, could going after bigger and better all the time actually backfire somehow?
That's a good question. And yeah, it's true that anything powerful can have its downsides if you're not careful. Cardone himself knows that the 10X rule needs balance. You got to be self-aware.
It's not about sacrificing your health or relationships just to achieve more.
Right. It's about finding that sweet spot where you're pushing yourself, growing, excelling, but not burning out or neglecting the important stuff.
Finding that balance.
Yeah, you gotta be mindful of your limits, listen to your body and your gut, and make adjustments when you need to.
Okay, so the 10X rule, it's a framework. It's not like these strict rules you got to follow no matter what.
Exactly. It's using the 10X ideas as a guide, but staying flexible and adapting along the way. And remember, it's all about creating a life that you find meaningful and fulfilling.
So you define success for yourself.
You got it. It's not chasing somebody else's definition of success. It's making your own.
That's a great point. You know, I've been thinking as we've been talking, Cardone, he focuses a lot on business and finance. But these 10X ideas could apply to anything, really.
Absolutely. That idea of setting big goals, taking tons of action, having a mindset of abundance, it can work for anything you're passionate about.
What if you went 10X with your relationships? Instead of just hoping for a good marriage or friendship, You put in 10 times the effort to make them incredible.
Love that idea. Or personal growth. What if you set a goal to read 10 times as many books as you normally would, or learn some new skill that seems totally out of reach right now?
Yeah, it's a whole different way of thinking. Instead of, I could never do that, it's, what would it take?
Exactly. And that's where the magic is, right? It's not about guaranteeing you hit every goal. It's about expanding what you think is possible.
I like that. So 10X, it's not just about the destination. It's about the journey, the growth,
Yeah.
the transformation that happens along the way.
Precisely. And even if you don't hit that exact 10x target, the skills you learn, the resilience you build, the knowledge you gain, that's invaluable.
It's all about pushing past your comfort zone
Yeah.
and discovering what you're truly capable of.
And that's really what it's all about.
Well, this has been an amazing deep dive. Cardone's 10X rule is definitely something to think about.
Me too. It's a powerful reminder that we all have the potential to achieve incredible things.
We just got to be willing to set our sights high and put in the effort.
Exactly. So for everyone listening, here's something to think about. Where in your life could you use the 10x rule? What area needs that kind of bold, audacious thinking?
What would it look like to 10X your efforts in your career, your relationships, your personal growth?
We want to hear your thoughts. Share your 10x ambitions with us on social media.
And until next time, keep diving deep and keep reaching for those extraordinary goals.
So mutual funds, it's kind of like a team effort when it comes to investing.
Oh,
You pool your money with other investors, right?
right.
And then you use that to buy a whole bunch of different assets, like stocks and bonds and things like that.
So you're not putting all your eggs in one basket.
Exactly. You diversify. And then SIPs, they take that diversification strategy even like a step further.
Okay, how so?
Well, with a systematic investment plan, you're basically putting a certain amount of money into those mutual funds, but you're doing it regularly. It could be every month, every quarter, whatever you set up.
So it's automatic. So you're taking the emotion out of it, right?
Yeah, you're not trying to time the market.
Right.
It's about consistency, having that long-term vision. And one of the key things Cardone talks about is compounding.
Compounding, yeah.
Over time, your returns, they make more returns, and those returns make even more returns. It's like the snowball effect.
It keeps building on itself.
Exactly. And that's how you build some serious wealth. So instead of trying to get rich quick, you're playing the long game, right?
Oh, you're in it for the long haul.
Consistent investments, let compounding do its thing. And with SIPs, you're not just, riding the market's ups and downs. You're actually like benefiting from them.
I don't quite follow.
Think about it. When the market dips, your investments are buying more shares at a lower price. And then when the market goes up, those shares are worth more.
So you're turning volatility into a good thing.
Right. Volatility becomes your friend. I think it's really interesting about all this, though. It's how much it emphasizes taking control.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's not about hoping for the best. It's about, actually making a plan and then going after it with, 110%.
No more just crossing your fingers and hoping for the best.
Right, exactly. It's like
Yeah.
that applies to everything we've been talking about, those big business goals, finances, even just building better relationships. You're shifting from a passive mindset to a really active one.
So instead of waiting for opportunity to come knocking, you're out there creating it.
That's it. You're becoming the architect of your own success. You're taking control of your destiny.
Yeah.
And that's a really powerful thing. Now, I know this all sounds great in theory, but I gotta ask, is this 10x thing really realistic for everyone? What about people who are just starting out? Maybe they don't have a ton of resources, experience,
That's a good question. Not everyone's starting from the same place.
Right. And Cardone, he gets that. He actually addresses that directly.
Oh, okay. What does he say?
Well, he says the 10x rule, it's not about starting out with this huge advantage or anything. It's about developing a mindset that helps you build those advantages over time.
So it's not where you're at, it's where you're headed and how much effort you're willing to put in.
Exactly. He believes anyone, no matter what their background is, no matter what the situation is right now, they can achieve amazing things if they're willing to embrace these principles.
It's all about that mindset.
Yeah, set those crazy big goals, take massive action, and don't you dare settle for just being okay.
You gotta aim high.
Aim high. It's about believing in yourself, believing that you can do more than you ever thought possible.
So it's not just about the destination, it's about the journey, that growth, that transformation that happens along the way.
That's a great way to put it. Even if you don't hit that exact 10x goal, the skills you learn, the resilience you build, the knowledge you gain, that's what's really valuable.
It sounds like it's less about a formula and more about a mindset. like being bold, ambitious, and going after your goals like you mean it.
I think that's it exactly. Challenge yourself to think bigger, be bolder, and never settle for anything less than extraordinary.
I love that. Now, as much as I'm enjoying this conversation, I do have to wonder, are there any downsides to this 10X approach? Like,
Yeah.
could going after bigger and better all the time, could that actually backfire somehow?
I mean, it makes you wonder, right? Like, could this whole idea of pushing yourself to the max all the time,
Yeah.
could it actually lead to burnout?
Yeah, exactly. What about your relationships, right?
Mhm.
If you're laser focused on these huge goals, could you end up neglecting, the people you care about?
Those are really important things to consider. And, it's true that anything powerful, if you don't use it carefully.
It could backfire.
Yeah. Cardone even says that himself. He knows that the 10X rule, it takes balance. You got to be self-aware. You can't just go full throttle all the time.
So it's not about like sacrificing your health, your relationships, just to get ahead.
Right, exactly. It's more about, finding that sweet spot where you're pushing yourself, you're growing, you're achieving all these things. But you're not burning yourself out or, neglecting the other parts of your life that matter.
Right. You got to have that balance.
Balance is key. You got to be mindful of your limits. Listen to your body. Listen to your intuition. And don't be afraid to make adjustments along the way.
So the 10X rule, it's not like a set of rules you can't break.
Yeah, think of it more as a framework. It's using those 10X principles as a guide, but staying flexible. Being willing to adapt. And this is important. Remember that the whole point of the 10X rule is to create a life that feels meaningful to you, that feels fulfilling.
It's about what success means to you, not what someone else says it should be.
Exactly. You define success for yourself. You decide what's important. It's interesting, as we've been talking about all this, I keep thinking about how Cardone focuses so much on business and finances.
Right.
But these 10X ideas, they could apply to anything, really.
Yeah, totally.
The whole concept, setting audacious goals, taking tons of action, having that mindset of abundance, it can work for anything you're truly passionate about.
What if you went 10X with your relationships?
Oh, yeah, I like that.
Instead of just, hoping for a good marriage or a good friendship, you put in 10 times this effort to make those connections truly amazing.
I love that idea. It completely changes how you approach things. Or, what about personal growth? Imagine setting a goal to read 10 times as many books as you usually would. Or learning some new skill that seems totally impossible right now.
Yeah, it's a mental shift. Instead of thinking, I could never do that, it becomes like, what would it take?
Exactly. And that's the beauty of this whole 10X thing, right? Not about hitting every single target perfectly. It's about opening your mind to what's possible. It's about realizing, wow, I have way more potential than I thought.
So it's not just about where you end up. It's about the whole journey, all the growth and change that happens along the way.
Absolutely. And even if you don't hit that exact 10X goal, all the skills you pick up along the way, the resilience you build, the knowledge you gain, that's priceless.
That's what makes you who you are.
It does.
Well, this deep dive into the 10X rule, it's been a real eye-opener, that's for sure.
I agree. It's a powerful reminder that we all have the potential to do incredible things if we're willing to set our sights high and put in the work.
Absolutely. So for everyone listening out there, here's a final thought to take with you. Think about this. Where in your life could you apply the 10X rule? What area needs that kind of bold, audacious thinking? What would it look like to 10X your efforts in your career, your relationships, your personal growth?
We want to hear your thoughts.
Share your 10X ambitions with us on social media. And until next time, keep diving deep and keep reaching for those extraordinary goals.